So that's kind of where I'm at now.
So both you guys, completely different paths, but sort of continuing the dream of playing pro hockey, and now you've both done it. As you mentioned, Mike, you were in the Southern Pro League, jumped up and played a full season in the ECHL with the South Carolina Stingrays after getting a taste in the ECHL the year before. David, you've played overseas in Slovakia. You've also played in the World Championships for Slovakia. Both you guys, Mike, maybe you start with just, living that dream and getting to be paid to play and being able to make a living, even though maybe you're not, getting as rich as some guys who went straight to their first job offer out of college. You guys are still playing hockey and getting paid to do it. What's that like? And, what has it been like for you to be able to move up into a different level as you progress?
Yeah, so I'll kind of pick back up right where I left off. I got into grad school. It seemed like the smart decision. I actually got a pretty decent scholarship to go. And a week before I went, I got an offer to play in the SPHL, and it was kind of one of those things to where, I'll probably never have an opportunity to get paid and play ever again. And like you said, it's not the greatest money, but I mean, they do pay for your living expenses, and they pay for your apartment, they pay for your utilities, and a lot of times they pay for your meals, and you get little stipends here and there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're actually saving up a decent amount. Like, I know someone who played in the ECHL for a year, and his girlfriend was working somewhere in the financial district in New York City, and all said and done, they at the end of the year, they probably had the same amount in their bank account. But yeah, it was a crazy experience, just heading down there. I actually started out in Orlando on a PTO, kind of getting a taste of what pro hockey was like at their training camp before I went down to Knoxville. And, you bring 30 to 35 guys to training camp in the coast. A lot of guys are on PTOs, and a lot of those guys get sent down to the SP after. So, I mean, the SP training camp was very similar to a ECHL training camp in terms of the personnel. I mean, my SP training camp had 7, 8 D1 guys, 4 or 5 who were at ECHL training camps the week before. So it's pretty good level. I think it has a bad stigma of just being a league where, a lot of the gong show stuff happens, guys fighting all the time. And there's part of that to an extent, but it's definitely gotten more skilled. As the NHL gets more skilled, so does the AHL and ECHL and SPHL. It's kind of a trickle-down effect. Yeah, so I played there for half the year, I believe, and then I put up pretty good numbers. I was an all-star as a rookie. I made the all-rookie team, and halfway through the season, I got called up to South Carolina, and that was probably one of the more cool experiences I've had. I mean, I know I wasn't on a Washington Capitals contract by any means, but it was still cool to be a part of that organization because they're Washington's farm team. And just growing up as a kid, being a Washington sports fan, and we got to have some of their gear, some of their Under Armour stuff. They would pass it down to us, so it was kind of cool to have that type of stuff. But the level of hockey just goes up from there. Everything's more consistent. Everything's a little bit faster. Everyone's a step ahead. Everyone's got a little bit more hockey IQ. So, first couple games it took a little bit to get adjusted, but after that, I think I proved myself and stuck around there for a bit and earned a contract for the following year. And this past year, I was with them. Was a first year head coach there, and we had our ups and downs, and I had our injuries, but kind of what David said, you kind of just got to stick through it and work hard. I mean, I saw guys this year came from big D1 programs like Wisconsin and Minnesota and DC, DU, all that. And when, their first taste of adversity, they kind of shut down because they're just kind of giving everything at those big schools. But me coming from D3 and then, having the parents that I had, they're both athletes and both work to high levels. My mom is essentially an Olympic swim coach. So just to keep working hard. I mean, when I was scratched or injured or whatever, instead of watching the games or pouting or whatever, I would go work out and just kind of, even if no one knew about it, I was still proving to myself that I still wanted to be here. So, just doing that and having a good attitude about everything and dealing with with all the stuff that happens, buses breaking down and all that, and some guys, play in the American League and NHL, kind of, they take what I think is amazing stuff for granted. Like, getting free sticks and getting all CCM gear and having a equipment manager and all that. That's stuff that you don't necessarily get at the D3 level. So I took that stuff and appreciated it, as much as I can. While some other guys, might have taken it for granted and, their skates had a little nick in it from not getting sharpened right out. I'm like, well, at least you're not paying for it. At Salem State, sometimes you had to pay for it. So it's definitely a different path from what other people have done. And, I've been lucky enough to get an opportunity to play, most summers at a high level. And it's, until those opportunities stop coming, I don't really see myself stopping. So,
David, you've been playing in Slovakia. Was that something that was always on your radar, given obviously your dad's nationality and his background?
What a lot of people don't know about me is I was actually born in Slovakia. I have a Slovakian passport. So I'm also a Slovak native. And I've gone to Slovakia every year since I was born for the summers. It was during my dad's off season, and we take the family and go there. We have all our relatives live there, grandparents, cousins. Everybody lives within 5 miles of each other in a town called Poprad. Poprad has a hockey team that plays in the top pro league in Slovakia. So that was kind of always in the back of my head. After college hockey, it was tough. Like I said earlier, it was a tough 4 years hockey-wise, but I still had the itch. I still wanted to play. I wanted to prove myself and, show not only myself, not only everyone, but I wanted to prove to myself that, I played this sport for so long. I can't just give it up. I want to prove to everyone that, I can play this sport. And so I went to, right after college, after I graduated Michigan State, I went to Slovakia for the summer like I always do. I started training with the team, and right before the season, they offered me a contract. They said, hey, we want you to play here next year. You've been practicing with us for the past couple summers. I was training with the pro team there for my seasons in the U.S., and I knew a lot of the guys, so the transition was easy. And it was a special thing for me to play in Poprad because all my relatives live there, and they've never really seen me play hockey. They've only seen me practice with the team, but they've never seen me play games. So I know for my grandma and my grandpa, it was something special. They finally got to see me play. And my first year, it was an eye-opening experience. Obviously, it's a different style of game. I remember my first official practice, we had a scrimmage at the end, and I got over the red line and I dumped the puck in. And the guy's looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, it's just a total different style of hockey. I would say most of the ice rinks are Olympic ice, so you have a lot more room to skate with the puck and control the puck. And it's there's a lot of skating, a lot of skill. Guys don't really go out of the way to hit. So I kind of brought my American style of hockey. Like I was that in college. I was that fourth line grinder that, I dump the puck and chase it, take a hit, make a play, and try to get the puck back. So I had to kind of learn how to, hold on to the puck. You're going to have time. Keep your head up, make a play. And it took me, I'd say, about half a season to really get adjusted to the style of play. I remember I came home for Christmas break for a week. We had played 20 games. I think I had a goal and 2 assists in those 20 games, and I was like, wow, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know. I might have to find a job next year. I don't know if I'm going to keep playing hockey or not. It's fun, but it's tough. But, I stuck with it. I had that hockey tough mentality, and I came back for the second half of the year, and I was a point-a-game guy. I totally turned it around. I got adjusted to the style, and I ended up with 20 points, and that was kind of my goal for the season, was to hit that 20-point mark. And that was especially special for me because I had played 60 games. I only had a goal and 5 assists through my college hockey career, and it was to be able to put up points and score some goals. It was it brought back that happiness and the love of the game that I had when I was a youth, playing with Chen, playing with Joey. So I decided I want to try another year and give it a go. And if it wasn't gonna propel me into, let's say, a better league, because every country has their top league. Germany has the DEL, the Czech league has the Tipsport top league. So every country has their pro league, and I wanted to move up. I wanted to go to the Czech league. I wanted to go to Germany. I still do. So after my second year, I had a similar season to my first. It was tough. The coach, like I said, you're always going to have good coaches and bad coaches in your eyes, but you got to respect them and respect their decision. You can only control the controllable. He saw me as a fourth line guy, so I played that role, and I had an okay season, similar to the first one, but I had a really good playoff series. And without my knowing, the national coach for Team Slovakia was watching our playoff series. We got knocked out in the first round, 4-0. But individually, I thought I had a good series, and I put up some points and showed what my strengths are. After the season, I got my ticket to come back home to the U.S. I talked it over, with my family and whatnot. I was actually ready to hang hockey up. I had fun doing it, but I think, I wanted to use my degree and probably try the finance route. I had actually a couple meetings lined up to find a job in the States. So I was preparing, just call it a career. I had fun. It was a blast. So, but the day before my flight to the U.S., I got a call from Team Slovakia's GM. His name is Miroslav Shatan, long-time NHL player. He played for the Sabres. He won a Stanlley Cup with Boston. He gave me a call. He said, "Hey, me and the head coach, we saw you play. The World Championships are coming up in about a month and a half, 2 months. We have a couple exhibition games before that. We have about 9. Since you guys got knocked out in the first round, we don't have many players to go play these first 2 games. Like, we're wondering if, you could possibly go to Sweden with the guys and, experience what the international level's like, represent Slovakia, and you can go home. Like, enjoy these 2 games." And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, it's always been my dream to be able to represent Slovakia and be a part of the international team. And so went to Sweden. Actually, 2 more of my teammates from my Poprad team, they got invited as well. What's funny is they put us together on a line, but we had never played together throughout the season. One guy was first-line winger. He was very skilled. He put up 60 points in 60 games compared to my 20 points. And the other guy was second-line centerman. He had like 20 goals that season. So I was kind of surprised as to why am I going to this camp? But the head coach his name is Craig Ramsey. He's still currently the head coach of the Slovokian National Team. He is a long-time NHLer. He coached in the NHL for over 15 years, and he liked that I had that American style. I wouldn't say like a skilled European player that's toe dragging, but I had that American Canadian style grit. My shifts, I went 100% every time, and gave it 100% effort. And he kind of liked that. He liked that tenacity that I had, and he wanted to give me an opportunity to showcase that at the international level. So we went to Sweden. We played 2 games. We got spanked by Sweden. We lost 6-1 and 7-3, I think. But these guys, they were all playing Sweden's top league, the ECHL. Such skilled players. I mean, it was definitely an eye-opening experience, and it was fun. I got those 2 games under my belt, and then we were making our way back, and I was looking at flights again, and Miro talked to me. He's like, hold next weekend we're going to Germany. You guys might get called up to come to Germany, so I held off on the flight.